Yeah, so I'm Sarah, the co-founder of Daor Design. We're a small graphic design company with a remote team based out of the US. We have about 10 people on our team. And basically, we just help small businesses go from maybe an incomplete, outdated, or ineffective brand to one that they're proud of that helps them attract quality clients. So most of our services are like logo design, website design, marketing, things like that.
Perfect. And with a team like this, tell me, what problem did you and your team solve with Nozbe?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So when we've been around for about 10 years, our business has, and we've been using Nozbe for about 8 of those years. And when I first found Nozbe, I was really the only full-time person on the team. My husband and I started the company, but I was kind of doing the day-to-day operations, working with the clients and everything like that. And as we grew, we kind of got to the point where I just couldn't remember everything anymore. I'm pretty organized. I would just kind of keep everything in my head and with post-it notes and things like that, and it just got to be too much. And so I started looking around for some sort of project management software that could help me have a set up really a trusted system. I follow David Allen with Getting Things Done, and then also Michael Hyatt. And I think that's how I first heard about you through Michael Hyatt. But really, I just wanted a system where I could know that I had everything in there. I wasn't going to forget anything. I wasn't going to drop any balls for our clients or miss deadlines. And Nosby really helped me do that. So that was kind of that primary problem that it helped solve.
So, well, I'm pleased to hear that like most of your business life, Nozbe was with you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's fantastic. So I understand that it did take a significant role from you just being a full-time like solopreneur
Yeah.
with contractors to growing the business. I understand,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So basically once I started using Noseby, that's when we started to really think beyond like a freelance mindset to more of a team mindset. And the beauty of it is that we can have a remote team. So we could hire people based on their credentials or based on, relationships that we had with people that we knew would be really good, and didn't have to hire based on location and somebody that's within, a mile radius, something close to where we were. And so that was really nice that we could just use our own personal and professional network when it came time to hire, because people could work remotely, which was great. And so it also, Noseby is very intuitive and easy for a team to use. So as we add new people, whether it's a contractor or an employee to the team, we can get them set up with Noseby, and within really an hour, they can see projects and tasks that are assigned to them, and start working. So most of our teams really taking Noseby pretty easily. Very few, questions or pushback. They adapt to it pretty well, which is good. So.
Okay, so that's great to hear that Nozbe is easy to
Yeah.
use for the new hires, and I understand that people get used to using Nozbe quickly, and they really have no pushback, like the way you structure projects, the way you use tasks. They like how you do it.
Yeah, they like it. They like it overall, and it's great because we can just add the right people to the right projects to help filter out some of the comments, so they're really only seeing things relevant to them. So obviously, some of our internal team will have on more internal projects and client projects. But if we have a contractor we're working with, or or somebody like that, we can just pull them in on the client project that they're working on, so they're only seeing the information relevant to them, which is perfect.
So I have additional question, Sarah, because based on our previous conversation, I heard that you insist on creating tasks that start with verbs. Can you tell me why?
So yeah, so basically I want to keep Noseby actionable. So I always remind my team, this is not where we store information. This is where we move work through and move work along. And so as soon as the task just is kind of, if it's vague, if it doesn't start with a verb, it kind of sits there because nobody knows what they need to do with it. And so the more clear the task, the more actionable it is, the more likely it is to get completed on time. And so I always insist that we start everything with a verb, just so that people know kind of what's required of me when this task comes to me. And that does really help. I drive my team crazy sometimes with that. I'll say, no, make that one start with a verb, or I'll kick it back to them. But overall, that really helps keep Noseby fresh, because if you start to just store information in there, it can start to be a little stale. Your to-do list doesn't feel actionable. And so just making sure that everything's actionable and has kind of a limited shelf life on those tasks helps it be very productive for our team.
Yeah, and I also heard from you that like that you also use Nozbe for everything else. So not just for running the business, but for running your life as well.
So I use Noseby for my personal life and my professional life. So I will manage personal projects in there. and then any internal projects for our team, and then any client projects that our company's doing as well. And it's where I keep my whole life. I feel like I can pull up my phone and just see, see what I need to do that day. And it almost feels like magic. Each morning when I wake up, there's like a new auto-populated to-do list that I just need to work my way through. And so then I know pretty much every day I'm, working on the right things at the right time. And I don't have to worry about what I'm not getting done because I know it's not a priority for that day. So it really keeps my head clear so I can be very present when I'm working on things. And then the key to having that too is just doing consistent, like weekly, monthly, quarterly reviews, so that you're always kind of planning ahead and know what your next priorities are, and you can kind of put those into the queue. So it's kind of like David Allen's tickler file, like that idea, but digitally, which I really like. So
how's your weekly review? Do you do it on Fridays? Or when do you do it? And what's your trick to really doing it regularly?
yeah, this can be a struggle for sure. So if time allows, I'll do it on Friday. If things get busy Friday, then I'll sit down like Saturday morning when things are real quiet. And that's a good time too, just to kind of go through and clean out any tasks that need cleaned out, kind of look ahead a week as well. So Saturday mornings are probably when I can most consistently do those. I'd like to get them done on Fridays, but I haven't figured out how to do that consistently yet. So
okay. So one more question about the usage of Nozbe, because I also heard from you that you have like a project which is like a chat room or chat rooms,
yeah.
right? How do you do that?
So we do a chat room. Okay, so it's a great way that our team can communicate on something. It's kind of like the water cooler of a physical office. And so it's a great place where we can just drop a note in there for our entire team to see that might not be related to a long shelf life project or to a client project. So things like, hey, if it's somebody's birthday in there today, or somebody has a question that they want to put out to the whole team. Or even at one point when we were giving you feedback on Nozbe, I could just drop a note in there and say, hey, what do you guys think? What do you want me to share? And so it's a great way to just kind of open up communication within the whole team without doing email. So I forgot to say that earlier. We have very little internal email within our team. It's irrelevant because we have Nozbe. So that's where we can just chat about any action items or open things right there in Nozbe. So it really helps keep our communication very actionable and project and task related, as opposed to just back and forth communication that you're trying to pull out action items as you would be with a long email chain. So that's another piece I forgot to mention. The chat room helps replace email, but just generally using the comments in Nozbe, it's been huge for us too.
Yeah, exactly. So like you're a perfect example of this, of task-based communication, and of like completely ditching email internally, which I totally advocate for, because if we would email each other internally, I would always skip them. So no.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I know one last. I have one more question, because I also heard from you that you use Nozbe also as kind of a CRM in a way.
Yeah, so we do a little bit. So I have actually a task or project that is where we just track open leads. So when somebody reaches out to us for a project, this is the project where I will break form with the verb. And so I'll do like the individual's name and then the little vertical line and then their business name. And so that way I have both right there in the task name. But then in the comments, I'll just do like initial request, here's where it came from, and I'll copy that in there. And their contact info. And then I'll just comment any communication I have with that lead throughout the process until we either work with them or if they decide to move in another direction. So until that lead is closed, basically. So that way, like if I've got a call with somebody today, I'll just pull up the comments and I'll say call notes from September 30th, and put in the call notes right there and just add that in. And that way I have a nice little, a nice place to track that interaction with somebody all the way up to the point where they become a client. And then at that point, I'll mark that project or that client as one, and I'll pass it to my project manager. That's his cue to pull the template project for that, whatever type. If we're doing a website for somebody, he'll pull that. Our office manager knows to put the invoice together. So it just kind of sets things in motion from there. So it's really nice that I can just track it right in there. And then also, I'll have somebody reach out for a project, and for whatever reason, their priorities change, or they say, I'm going to put this on the back burner for a while. And then they'll call back 2 years later and say, hey, you probably don't remember me. I talked to you about a website a while ago. And by the time they're done saying that, I can pull up their name and notice and say, oh yeah, we talked, a couple years ago, early in the year, about your website. Here's your business, and kind of just reflect back to them that initial conversation, they're always impressed when I can do that. And I'm always impressed that Nozbe can pull it up that quickly and just that fast. I can pull up the information and jump right into a conversation that's sat there for 2 years. So that's been really nice to have too.
Yeah, it's like you have additional external memory, like a superpower that you can
It is.
quickly
Yeah, it makes
recall.
me look pretty good, and it's not really not that hard. So that's great.
Thank you so much for this conversation, and let's keep working together.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.